executive session. We returned to open session. Tonight we're going to meet with Doug Finn to talk about FCAT. From a general manager's perspective, I think it's important to bear in mind that the department heads come forward to the board and to the town through this method. Poor person with the headphones on just scrunched her face. Like, that must have been loud.
Little feedback.
So, that said, the department heads come into the town, come into the board, and we broadcast some of those updates. And as FCAT is more and more an important player in our town, in our multiple communities, it was important to have, in this case, Doug Finn come in. But before we get started, tonight is the Deerfield Special Town Meeting.
Yes, it is.
And that is the reason Margaret is not here, as she is a resident of Deerfield. She is headed to the town meeting. Okay.
26 warrant articles on their special town meeting.
26?
26.
Short meeting, huh?
It'll be a short meeting, I'm sure. That's a little... I can fix that.
Would it help if I tap the microphone really loud?
No. There we go.
Got it.
All right.
But I thought you just unplugged all of our microphones.
That'll
So,
work. There you go.
Royal semaphore.
I have some basic paperwork for your records.
Yeah.
This is an update to what you've got. It is refined as
Oh,
of...
An update on the update.
An update on the update.
Great.
Actually, if you want to take a look at the single loose page, the profit and loss, I'd like to start with that. This is
That's a better number.
almost up to date. It does not include a payment to the state for SUDA and unemployment and tax withholding. But other than that, it does show accurate numbers. It shows a total income so far this year of about $38,000. Total expenditures of about $31,200, which leaves us in the black by about $7,000, which is good. Part of this is not us overestimating our expenses. Part of this is the fact that some of our expenses are going to be seen later in the year as we get closer to the late spring and early summer. I do expect employee costs, staffing costs to increase as we put a couple more staff people on for the summer programs, which will be partly borne out by this. But we are saving a little bit of money. We're trying to trim back as much as we can and be as conservative as we can. I will try to bullet point this 3-page handout as best as I can. Banking and finances is in order. We're looking at doing direct deposit for staff paychecks, which will save a little bit of time. And thanks to the good folks at People's Bank, we can do that for, I think, 20 cents per check per month, which is a darn cheap way to go. And we thank them for that. Production is increasing this fall. We had a slow period in August. I think everybody was away on vacation. But as with the beginning of the school year and into the autumn, we're seeing more people interested in learning how to use the gear, and more of our regular producers coming back to help out with sporting events and that sort of thing. We've seen a lot of sports production from Frontier Regional, both from students helping to produce those meetings, as well as some parents getting behind the camera and bringing us soccer games and field hockey games and football games, and it's been a lot of fun. It's been good. We are also having regular training classes every Monday night, which is new in October, and we encourage anybody who has an interest to stop by FCAT at about 6 o'clock on any given Monday night, and we're happy to give you a walk through the facility and orientation and training.
Facility orientation, training, like you were just saying, parents?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And we don't care that you've never even seen a camera before. We will start with the basics, and if you have a camera of your own and you want to learn how to use that, we encourage you to bring that. But we do have some really great digital cameras at the ready and ready for use. It's very easy, point and shoot, very simple stuff to use. No matter what your interest is, we want to hear from you.
Nice.
Public access is the people's soapbox, and we encourage people to make use of it. Let's see. There's some bullet points in here that I won't go through specifically in terms of technology and operations, but I will reiterate the last paragraph that these technology changes have been made so we can try to increase the efficiency of our workflow. We're producing anywhere between 12 and 20 hours of video per week, which 12 hours a week, it doesn't sound like a lot, but it really is. It's kind of like maple syrup, where you get 40 gallons of sap to make 1 gallon of syrup. It's kind of like that. There's a lot of effort that goes into this. And at this point, we're just barely keeping up. So we're looking at ways to make our workflow a lot more efficient. Hope to have some more notes on that later on down the line. I would like to point out that we've been continually analyzing our facility, and especially over the past 2 or 3 months, the strengths and weaknesses of our current space are becoming more and more apparent. So we continue to look for available space. If anybody has ideas, we'd be happy to hear them. Let's see, we continue to plan for our citizen journalism project, which I expect to start in, at least in, not full swing, partial swing in the early spring, and then get really into full swing as we head into the summer. Kevin Murphy, of course, continues as our youth coordinator. Elisa Martin continues as our media and schedule coordinator. And due to some changes in staffing, we're actually going to be officially bringing on about 5 production interns as employees, whereas they were volunteering or receiving a small stipend for some of the work they did in the past. We're making them regular employees, and that will ensure that we've got a crew at the ready for most any meeting that needs to happen. I put some details in here about our capital improvements. The big news really is the contract negotiations, of course, for the cable contract renewal. I've been working with Chuck Sherwood, who has in turn put me on to several consultants, some from HB Communications, a few folks who are architects and systems engineers, to basically talk about what public access TV might look like over the next 10 years. In particular, I'm working with a consultant out of Shutesbury who has volunteered her time to take a foundation look at FCAT, what we do and how we do it, starting with our mission statement. And when I read off what we have for a mission statement, she looked and smiled and said, well, that's good. We have to work on that. And her insights have been very valuable. I'm looking forward to working with her. And she's doing it on a pro bono basis. So you can't ask for better than that.
Can't beat that.
Yep. I continue to work with Tom Zimnowski and the folks of the STC on consolidating our operations. We're slowly picking up the reins of the Sunderland Telecommunications Committee when it comes to cable operations. And I'm working with, again, HB Communications on upgrades to the technology in this room, as well as upgrades to the remote production unit that Sunderland has been using for some time. Hopefully in another couple weeks, I'll have some numbers, and I'll be coming back to you to authorize an expenditure of PEG access funds to start some of those upgrades. Of course, I'll be running them past the STC for their advice and consent. Finally, this meeting is very timely. It's just after 7 o'clock on a Monday. We've got a board meeting at 7 o'clock on Wednesday this week. That's October 30th. We are looking for board members, and I would encourage anyone who has an interest in becoming a member of FCAT's Board of Directors to come to that meeting. Have a seat at the table, listen to what goes on, and if you have an interest in being a board member, there are spaces available, and the board can appoint new members. It'll be a short-term appointment until the annual meeting in January, but we are certainly looking for new minds, new ideas, new hands to help. And I would encourage everybody to take part if they have an interest. Like I said, I didn't hit every single point in here, but I think that sums it up. I'm happy to answer questions if you have any. And I have a more complete budget if you have any questions on the numbers that you see there.
I'm interested in what you're talking about on your facilities. Specifically about the library, Western Mass Regional Library.
Okay.
Can you expand on that a little bit, Doug?
I can. It must have been at least 5 weeks ago that I participated in a walkthrough of that building, which, as folks know, is just over the line in Whately, in the industrial park area there. And it's a massive building. And the EMS Planning Committee has been considering that as a potential new home for the Tri-Town Ambulance. It's centrally located. It's easy to get out to 5 and 10 and to 116, so it makes sense for that purpose. But it's a really big space. So the potential for other uses of that building, and I'm probably speaking about things you already know, but for your viewers at home.
Exactly.
The other organization that is looking at that as a possible shared space is the South County Senior Center, which of course serves Sunderland and Deerfield and Whately. Even then, with the Senior Center and with the ambulance service, there's still space. The question is, what kind of space would be there? What the capacity of it would really be? What are the options for sharing that space? In other words, If you have a meeting room that's outfitted with cameras, can it be used for senior center activities or for training of the EMS staff? And I would think, yes, it's just a matter of
Sure.
scheduling. And can there be other resources that can be utilized, like a computer lab that is used for producers for editing video, but maybe that can also be used for seniors to learn computer skills or just for general email or photo editing or what have you. I think it has the potential to be a great opportunity, but there are, at least at the end of that meeting that evening, there were some questions about how the building could be acquired, whether the Western Mass Regional Library would want to stay on as a tenant and how much space they would need. And then other questions in regard to access, from a selfish point of view, how can students from Frontier Regional get there easily? Is it on the bus line? And the bigger question, how do we tie it into the network of the cable network?
Right, your physics, yeah.
You know, it's 2 miles away from the nearest line, so that would mean we'd have to find a way either for Comcast to donate or us to pay Comcast
They don't go into
to run new lines.
They don't go into the park, huh?
They may have lines in the park, but the signal
Right.
that we send out is sent out on a dedicated network.
Exactly.
So I'm not saying that there isn't ways around that,
Sure,
but
sure.
there are
It's not
concerns
there
that we
right
have.
now.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
the
we're not
thing.
quite there right now.
Interesting.
Part of the contract renegotiation, we looked at the cost for a fiber optic network, which would tie together Sunderland and Whately and Deerfield. Don't take it the wrong way, Conway. We left Conway out of the picture just because of the distance.
Yeah.
But we would be looking at about somewhere between $160,000 and $200,000 just for the fiber optic network, not including the hardware that would be located at any one of the locations,
Right,
the remote.
It's just the
origination.
connections.
It'd be expensive.
Yeah.
But in terms of that facility, I think there's a lot of potential. And I'd love to continue to be a part of that conversation.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Along those lines, as you talked about, if I could, as you talked about capital way back when, it's what they call PD, pre-Doug, right?
Pre-Doug.
Pre-Doug. So way back in the day, we talked about a capital assessment that included existing halves in the towns, and then like platforms. There was no redundancy in the kind of pieces of equipment that we were buying.
Yep.
Am I hearing that there is a direction in equipment replacement, and that is going to be like equipment available to each of the towns?
I am looking at that
Yeah.
as a potential, certainly. I'm also looking within each town,
Yep.
sort of intra-town,
Exactly.
at how we can best spend money.
Yep.
Be able to get better, more durable, more capable gear
Right.
if we can find a way to make better and more extensive use of it.
Smart.
Instead of equipment sitting in a closet for 29 days out of a month,
Might get more use out of it.
get more use out of it.
No, I completely agree. I mean,
yeah.
I say right down to pieces and parts.
Yes.
You know, if you've got an
Yeah.
installed base in 3 locations or 4 locations or
Yep.
9 locations,
Yep.
boy, it's awfully nice if they're like components, like platforms all the way across the way.
We are looking at consolidating the types of technologies that we have. We're looking at a single not type of switcher or model, but a single brand of video switcher, for
Yep.
example, where there may be different tiers, but each switcher basically operates
Smart.
the same. So a person could easily migrate from one to the next. Cameras definitely, and audio equipment the same way. We do want to pick gear that works well, is durable, and then get that out to everybody, so everybody knows that the expectation is there, they know how to use it.
I wanted to stay inside that maintenance and capital piece since you started with building.
Yep.
Anything along those lines, David?
Yeah, no, it makes sense for a lot of reasons to do that.
Yep.
With respect to programming and schedule, you said there's inputs. It takes X amount of hours to make 12 hours of programming.
Yeah.
But then there's also scheduling, placement, rebroadcasting.
Yeah.
How is that programming schedule coming along, if you will? I'm sure it's dynamic. I see it all the time.
Yep.
But you're effectively talking about up to 3 channels now.
We are talking about up to 3 channels. Let me preface that by saying that the 3 channels are 12, 15, and 23 on the cable dial. In each town, channel 15 is unique.
Yep.
Sunderland's 15, Deerfield's 15, Conway and Whately. Each channel 15 is unique, and we've basically allowed those towns to manage the cable content on the channels 15. Channel 12 has undergone a tremendous change over the past couple of months, where instead of seeing a program and then rotating
Mm-hmm.
text messages, you're going to see nothing but programming on Channel 12. It's consistent. It's back to back. There are promos for upcoming programs. There's filler material. There's original, unique content all the way across the schedule, 24/7. There's no breaks. You want to wake up at 3 in the morning, you're going to see a cool old movie at 3 in the morning on Channel 12. Channel 23, we're still working on a way to program that well.
Yep.
Right now, it is a consolidated 4-town message board, but we are working on ways to make better use of that channel.
Okay, great. Questions or comments, board members, on other subjects? Don't mess with the Friday night movies or Saturday night movies.
23.
They're so good. So goofy, they're such fun.
How come I can't hear anything?
On 20,
It's a silent movie,
That's exactly right.
right, Scott?
It's a silent movie. Turn the volume up. Oh, right. Turn it back down.
If I'm watching at 3
It's
o'clock
sometimes
in the morning,
frustrating.
Scott, I
Some of
may
the,
not realize why.
some of the silent movies actually, on a historic note, had soundtracks that were written for them, but they were all performed live.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
A great example of that is Metropolis.
Yeah, it's great.
An amazing soundtrack from that, but of course,
We don't have an orchestra on standby.
we don't have an
so,
orchestra and a
yeah.
pipe organ in your home, so it's
Well.
sometimes hard to.
We're working on it.
There you
I
go.
bet you talked to Miss Atherton about that
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
class
huh?
project.
There you
They
go.
just did one at the Springfield Symphony on Saturday. It was Frankenstein with the Springfield Symphony.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
The original black and white. It was
Nice.
beautiful. Anyway,
Nice,
I
absolutely.
digress. With respect to training, it's Mondays.
Mondays?
It's open enrollment, if you will.
Yep. From 6 to 6:30 is like station orientation.
Yep.
And if you've been there before, you can show up at 6:30 and that's fine.
Yep.
That's the time when we fill out the paperwork, we give you the bylaw or the rules of the organization, give you a sense as to what it's all about, so everybody's on board there. And then we get into some specific but basic level of training, whether it's video editing or running a camera or using a digital SLR camera for shooting video, or practicing on sound, looking at lighting for video down the line. It could be any number of a variety of different techniques or skills. But they're all targeted towards people who have not done a lot of video work in the past or have done none.
Yep.
So almost any Monday night, folks can stop by and hopefully learn a little something.
Super.
Over the course of the next couple of months, we'll be, as we get more and more people involved, we'll be looking at advanced training classes as well, where folks who have got experience can learn a new skill.
Along those lines, because of the reliance on a combination of volunteers, interns, student body, is there an active outreach to ensure a minimum staffing level all the time, or just one day the sagebrush goes by and it's just Doug? And you go, what happened to everybody?
Tumbleweed.
Well, that's-
Tumbleweed goes by, exactly, sorry.
Part of our staffing
That's all right.
changes over the past 3 weeks have been a result of about 3 weeks ago. It was one Monday when there was a school committee meeting in Whately, a selectmen's meeting in Sunderland, a selectmen's meeting in Conway, a planning board meeting in Deerfield, and a studio shoot all happening at once.
Right.
Or within 2 hours of each other. And that's when we were scrambling around looking for volunteers. That's when we said, okay, we're going to take some of these folks who've been working for us. We're going to say, we want you to work for us on a regular basis. Be available on Monday through Thursday evenings, essentially, or other times on call. And we have a crew of about 5 or 6
Nice.
now that can be available any evening, basically, during the week. And some are available at other times during the day as well, which is great.
And you know what happens the first one that's missed. Not so much missed in the room, but there's clearly feedback about volume, lighting. I didn't see your meeting broadcast. What
Yep.
happened? You
Yep.
were back on. So people clearly watch. I mean, I think collectively we all know that. So
Very much
that
so.
staffing point, I guess, and the succession plan associated with it, an infill plan, it's got to be on the board as a director's front of their mind. So.
Absolutely. In addition, those 5 part-time staff are in addition to the other 3 staff that we have.
Yep.
And any one of our 3 staff members can usually go out with a camera and make sure something is covered. Myself and Kevin are trained on the gear here as well as at Deerfield, and Elisa actually can take a camera and go hit Whately or Conway if need
Nice.
be as well.
So this is the chance you get to ask us questions that have nothing to do with money.
Nothing to do with money. Yeah, what is your question?
We know that one
I would actually be interested because Tom brought it up, I am interested to find out if there's been any forward motion on the Western Mass Library building that you know of. Or is it
Probably
still?
Waiting for Deerfield tonight.
Tonight.
Yeah, their
Right.
town
Oh,
meeting is going on right now.
of course, they have to approve the
Right.
regional EMS, sure. And assuming they do,
There's written
happens.
correspondence that's a couple of weeks old to ensure that the parties who currently run the building, manage and own the building,
okay,
about our combined interests.
okay,
And that was our last correspondence, 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Probably 3 weeks ago.
okay.
Again, it was reaching out without, being particularly excited about it, but it was still reaching out. It's all part of any good negotiation.
Yep,
I
absolutely.
agree, you know, it may be too big.
For the.
For any one,
Even for the senior center and if FCAT and the ambulance, it's still,
There's still
Huge.
space there.
It's a big building, definitely.
it's still huge. We were concerned, I think one of the concerns that we had was that when we talked to the realtor, we had some simple questions about costs, how much it costs to heat it in winter, how much
Right.
and he had no idea, which we
Yep.
found very, in a way troubling, that no one would have an idea of what it would cost, because I would think anybody that's looking to buy it would wanna know that stuff.
Absolutely.
right, what's your annual heating costs?
You know by the.
We heard there's a price now.
Oh, okay, that's something.
Well,
Well,
gotta start
yeah.
somewhere.
And it's under $1 million. I mean, you don't build a place like that for less than $1 million. It has
Not these
gas.
days.
No, that's, if it's less than $1 million, that's actually fairly darn affordable. At least in terms of comparing that, I've done some research in terms of the possibility of building a standalone facility. And the best price I've found so far, rough numbers, is still over 600,000, 650. And that's for a very basic four walls building with very little build out inside, so.
Yeah, so the price is pretty good, but then again, you'd have to still go back in and try to configure.
Yep.
We'd be very interested if somebody else wanted to buy it and lease us out the portion for what we would need.
At least
I
on
mean,
the required square feet as opposed to owning the totality of the building.
Yeah, I mean, the garage where the garage area is, that'd be more than enough for an EMS. I mean, we could have offices, training,
Absolutely.
all kinds of stuff. The ready rooms, storage, whatever.
Sure.
That's just in the garage.
Yeah, that's a huge space, yeah, absolutely.
And I don't know, FCAT, you would have larger than a Warner Brothers motion picture studio if you went over. I mean, it's huge. I mean, and we also talked to some
Water
people,
sets and everything,
and we also talked to people about some of the seniors in the senior center, and there's a question if that would be convenient also to people in the seniors, so.
A lot of folks, at least the sense that I get and the feedback that I've heard, a lot of folks really like the fact that the senior center is in a downtown.
Yeah.
Yes, it makes
South
sense from-
Deerfield's convenient, but they like the fact that it's there. It's close to the market, it's close to Jerry's place,
Stuff.
it's close to the convenience
Close to
store.
stuff, yeah.
Yeah, and they do like that.
Yes.
We have to have a place that you can go talk.
Good point.
Jerry's place.
Jerry's Place.
Yeah.
And get a fried egg sandwich. Not that that was a promotion.
Or two.
Or two.
You don't have to,
That's right.
it's just a fact.
That's right.
You can go to Jerry's place and get a fried egg sandwich.
Doug,
Mr. Steinbrenner.
I actually really appreciate the opportunity to come in and get the GM's report. As FCAT, of course, got on its feet and got moving. It's been nice to see the continued trajectory of both improvements as well as the expanding of the vision that is what FCAT can provide. And so keep up the fine work. I certainly, as one of the members of the board, appreciate all that goes on.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it, and thanks for the time here.
Welcome.
Thanks.
Okay, we have minutes of October 21st.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion made and seconded to accept the minutes of October 21st. All those in favor?
Aye.
3-0, please. And then we have a couple of appointments in front of us. But before we do that, under board updates, we are going to be posting tomorrow for treasurer collector's position. Our current treasurer collector is no longer working for the town. So we're going to ask for some measure of patience as we go through another transition in the treasurer collector's office. We're working on our contingency plans for the continuity of our business here in town, your business here in town. And as has been done in the past, staff will rise to that occasion. So we are going to be posting for that tomorrow. Is any of the board updates?
The Red Sox are tied with the St. Louis Cardinals at 2 games apiece on a controversial call at third base.
2 controversial calls.
Well, they may say, I guess
Yeah.
there has to be a reason why it's never been called in the World Series.
Correct.
Although if we did go back a few years, there was a controversial call that was the same call that wasn't called on a catcher back in the World Series not too long ago. They didn't make the call, so
Isn't that interesting?
I guess the
Is the
umpires at that
1975
time
one?
used discretion.
Ah,
My own personal thought. Although I do think Middlebrooks was trying to slow him down because naturally you control your legs. If you're on your belly, you pull your legs underneath you.
of course.
They usually don't go up.
My knee's
For
been
you.
that way.
To go up, to stand up?
No, they go forward,
Yeah.
but not
Anyway.
that far to stand up. I hear you.
I don't know.
Margaret is out again. Tonight is the Deerfield, Town of Deerfield Special Town Meeting. Wish the town wisdom in their choice.
I think we should send a letter to Fox Sports also. These 8:30 starts and midnight finishes are getting troubling.
I agree with that.
It's that whole midsection of the west part of the country,
Yeah, but what do we care about
Yeah,
them?
but they can still watch, they can still watch the game.
Exactly.
Reminds me of a T-shirt I saw.
Exactly. Margaret,
Which will be on in 30 minutes.
Margaret is out, and so there's no town administrator updates. We have a recommendation in front of us to appoint Mr. Scott Reed to the Energy Committee, and it has the word expedite. I guess that means we should act on this.
I believe it does, yes.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion made and seconded. This is to appoint Scott Reed to the Energy Committee. This was sent by the Chair of the Energy Committee, Laura Williams, and this will be for the duration of this year's term, back to the regular appointment cycle. All those in favor?
Aye.
3-0, please. We have in front of us the required appointment of Margaret to be temporary treasurer collector during in the interim while that position is open. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded, so Margaret, back at it again. All those in favor?
Aye.
3-0, please. And list of road closures, if you would, Tom, while I scratch number names.
Please be advised that the following roads, this is submitted by George Emery, the highway superintendent. Please be advised that the following roads, or portion of the following roads, are not maintained in the winter. Cemetery Road from Sagala's, that's twice you've done that tonight. From Sagala's driveway to Riverside Cemetery. Just on that road also, if there's snow on the ground, 4 or 5 inches, please don't drive down because probably underneath it, the ground can't support your ground or vehicle if it goes off the thing. So if there's snow, please don't, we don't wanna have to put up a sign.
I agree.
Clark Mountain Road from house number 42 easterly to Mount Toby. Cross Mountain Road from house number 28 northerly to Middle Mountain Road. Ferry Road westerly to the Connecticut River. Ferry Road at Williams property from Route 47 westerly to the Connecticut River. Gun Cross Road from Route 47 westerly to Falls Road. Gun Mountain Road from house 23 westerly to North Mountain Road. Hubbard Hill Road from house number 2 easterly to the Leverett Town Line. Middle Mountain Road from house number 10 to Mount Toby. Mount Toby Tower Road from Reservation Road to the Fire Tower. North Mountain Road from the intersection of Claybrook Road northerly. Intersection of Claybrook Road northerly to Mount Toby. Roundabout. Reservation Road from house number 40 easterly to Route 63. Reservoir Road from the reservoir easterly to Mount Toby. Reservoir Road from the reservoir easterly to Point of Termination. Whitmore Crossroad from Route 47 westerly to Falls Road.
So again, these roads are, this is winter road maintenance, and we're, at this point, they're not being maintained in the winter. It doesn't constitute a road closure, but it does mean winter's coming. So be smart about these roads, okay?
Also, as of by town bylaw, November 1st is no on-street parking.
It's a really good point, Tom, actually.
That's right.
There is no on-street parking. Okay. Any other discussion? If not, is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You can call us out at 7:42. Thank you so much, FCAT.